chapter 20, the book of Exodus, chapter 20, verses 1 through 17. And it reads, And El spake all these words, saying, I am Yahuwah thy El, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. And thou shalt have no other Els before me, and thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in the heavens above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, Yahuwah thy El, am a jealous El, visiting the iniquities of the fathers upon the children until the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of Yahuwah thy El in vain, for Yahuwah will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of Yahuwah thy El. In it thou shalt not do any works, thou, nor thy sons, nor thy daughter, thy manservants, nor thy maidservants, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days Yahuwah made the heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore Yahuwah blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy fathers and thy mothers, that their days be long upon the land which Yahuwah thy El giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbors, and thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservants, nor his maidservants, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor. The word covered in verse chapter 17. Word covet means to desire, delight, to lust after, that's what it means, okay? The word covet means to don't desire to lust after your neighbor's stuff. Just be content with where you are. Okay, let us pray. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us of our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Thine to your kingdom, power to your glory, forever and ever. So let it be. Amen, amen, amen. If you could, turn the book of Yahuwah. Turn the book of Yahuwah to Matthew chapter 12. Matthew chapter 12. Matthew chapter 12, verses 46 through 50. I really think I want to use I want to say verses 46 through 50, I'm going to use the key verse. Verse 48. but I'm going to read the whole thing because I'm not going to stay on this. I'm just going to go through some examples today. Okay, it says, I'm going to read the whole thing, and it reads, "While ye yet talk to the people, behold, his mother and his brethren stood without, desiring to speak with him. Then one said unto him, Behold, thy mother and thy brothers stand without, desiring to speak with thee. But he answered and said unto him that told him, Who is my mother? And who are my brethrens? And he stretched forth his hand towards his disciples and said, Behold, my mother and my brethrens. For whosoever shall do the will of my Father which is in heaven, the same is my brother and my sister and my mother." And the title of the text today, who is your brother, your mother, and your sister? Who is your brother, your mother, and your sister? The key verse is verse 48. The key verse is verse 48. That is the key verse. Then that's something we got to talk about today. Okay? But let me give 2 words for today. The 2 words for today is internal. Internal. Internal is inward, within, domestic, on the inside. Internal, being within any limits or surface, not external. Internal is a real, it's core, it goes within you. It is within you. That's what internal is. It's within, okay? The intentions. Intentions is a stretching or bending of the mind towards an object or person. When the mind with great feelings and of choice fixing its views on an ideal, considers it on every side and will not be caught off by the normal petitions of others. Intentions are ideals, intentions are purpose, intentions are designs, intentions are aims, intentions are wills, intentions are wish, intentions are desires that which is intended for. Okay? So the key verse is, "But he answered and said unto him that told him, Who is my mother and who are my brethrens?" Okay, and if I may give a title of the teachings today, the title of the teachings today is, Who is your brother, your mother, and your sister? And let me give another one. Let me give another one, another verse that I want you to keep in the back of your conscience. It's Proverbs 18 and 24. In Proverbs 18 and 24, and it reads, "A man that has friends must show himself friendly, and there's a friend that sticketh closer than a brother." Okay? So in in Matthew chapter 12, right? The Messiah was going about teaching on the Sabbath day. Yes, the Messiah was teaching on the Sabbath. Yes, the Messiah was teaching on the Sabbath. You know, he was teaching the people. It's like in verse 1 and 12 in Matthew verse 1, it says, "At the time Jesus went on the Sabbath day through the corn, and his disciples were hungry and began to pluck the ears of corn and to eat. But when the Pharisees saw it, they said unto him, Behold, thy disciples do that which is not lawful to do unto the Sabbath." And this was when the disciples was trying to chastise the Messiah about what he should and shouldn't be doing on the Sabbath. And sometimes we can get some misunderstandings about what we should and shouldn't be doing on the Sabbath. And sometimes I'll be afraid of my actions on what I should and shouldn't be doing on the Sabbath. And this is what the Messiah is trying to teach you. Teach us about being a good disciple, or being a good follower, or doing the will of the Messiah, or being a good student of him. It's what we should and shouldn't be doing on the Sabbath. You know, and it said, and he gave an answer. Let's go down to verse let us go down to I'm finna go to, okay, let us go down to verse 4. Then he said, what you shouldn't be doing on the Sabbath. He says, how he entered in Matthew chapter 12, verse 4. Sometimes I got to repeat stuff for my rockhead wife. But he said, he entered into the house of El and did eat the showbread, talking about David, which was not lawful for him to eat, neither for them which were with him, but only for the priests. Or yet have ye read in the law how on the Sabbath day the priests in the temple profane the Sabbath, and are blameless? But I say unto you, that in this place is one greater than the temple. But if ye had known what this meant, I would have mercy and not sacrifice. Ye would have condemned the guiltless. And basically he was just talking to the Pharisees about what you should and should not be doing, and he gave David as an example of what you should and shouldn't be doing. And then he was talking about how he did good deeds of healing the withered man, the man who had a crippled hand. He fixed his hand on the Sabbath. And they really didn't like that, because they was thinking the only thing that you should be doing on the Sabbath day is just basically resting. But the Messiah said, no, why would you just rest when you know that you can do still some good deeds on the Sabbath? Because the Messiah said, okay, if you saw one of your animals in the water drowning, would you not try to get him out of that water? Or would you just let him drown because it's the Sabbath day, when you know that that animal may help you in your field of work, whatever you're doing? If it was a cow, would you try to get that cow out of the water, or would you just let him drown? And he was asking logical questions to the Pharisees, but they was trying to be so religious that they couldn't even comprehend what he was trying to get them to understand. And this is basically about teaching, God chosen servant and things of that nature, just trying to teach the people. It was a question. This is like a question and answer scenario. They would answer him, they would ask him a question, and then he would turn around and answer the question. They would ask him another question, and then he would turn around and answer it, to get justifications of what you should and should not be doing. Because at this point here, it was like he was being a teacher to the Pharisees. He was teaching them how to be and how not to be from his understanding, or from his point of view, because they had a totally different point of view on what they should and should not be doing. So when you go down to verse 46, somebody came and asked him a question because they saw his mother and his brother standing outside of the synagogue while he was inside. Okay, let me read it to you. It says, "While yet he talked to the people, behold, his mother and his brethren stood without," meaning they was not in the presence, meaning that either it's a physical thing or a spiritual thing. And it says, "desiring to speak with him. Then one said unto him, Behold, thy mother and thy brother stand without," meaning outside, and desiring to speak with thee. But he answered and said unto him that told him, Who is my mother and who are my brethren? This is like a question and answer thing, because he's trying to get them to understand who is actually his mother and his father, not just from a physical sense, but also from a spiritual sense. Then he said, he stretched forth his hands towards his disciples and said, Behold my mother and my brethren. He was pointing to the disciples to say, that's who my mother and my brethren really are. And he was telling them, that's my mother and my brother, even though these are my physical mothers and my brethren, these are my spiritual mothers and my brethren. Why did he say that? And it answers for, he says, For whosoever shall do the will of my Father which is in heaven, the same is my brother and my sister and my mother. So when we go to understanding certain things about verse 38, 48, it says, But he answered and said unto him that told him, Who is my mother, my brother, and my... We got to also understand that Micah chapter 7, verse 5 and 6. No, verse 6. I'm just going to go to verse 6. Micah verse 7 and 6. It says, because Micah is talking about the last days. Okay? Micah is talking about the last days and what was going to happen in the last days. What was going to happen in the last days. It says, For the son dishonors the father. The daughter rises up against her mother. The daughter-in-law against the mother-in-law. And a man's enemies are in the men of his own house. So when Micah is talking about a man's enemies are the men of his own house, saying that he's going to have conflict in his own house. Even though these are his blood people, they came out of his loins, he's going to have problems with them from a physical context, from a physical and spiritual sense. So when the man asked Yeshua the HaMashiach that question, they're asking that question from a spiritual sense. Who is your brother? Who is your mother? Who is your father? Because when we're looking at it, Micah is saying that everybody's going to have problems and conflicts. Yes, we're going to have those problems. We're going to have those conflicts. But yes, they're still my brothers. They're still my sisters and my mother. But the person who is really my mother, my brother, my sisters are the people who really do the will of my Father. That's who really is my mother, my brother, and my sister. But I want to deal with how throughout the Bible you have seen family problems, family issues, family problems that go on from the beginning of time. Because we have to understand that family problems does arise. And they arises on several different on several different issues. But that's why I said the reason why, and I'm gonna say this, the reason why most family issues arise is because of internal intentions. The reason why people have problems within their own family is because of internal intentions from the person who's causing the problems. And that's something that we really got to understand. The reason why family issues comes about, and the real reason why Jesus asked the question is, who really is my mother? Who really is my father? Who really is it? Because he had internal issues within himself. He had internal issues within his own family. They didn't really want to ride or die with him when he was out there doing his mission. They really didn't believe in him the way that he wanted them to believe in him. So Yahshua the HaMashiach had issues within his own family. They didn't believe in him the way that he wanted them to believe in him. You know, so when you're looking at it, okay, if you go to Mark chapter 3 verses 21, right? I go to verse 22. I'm going to go to verse 20 and 21. Because the reason why Yahshua is saying what he's saying, because he experienced this firsthand. He experienced internal intentions from his own family. The people that was around him had internal intentions because of whatever it was. It says, this is what they says in verse 20 and 21. And the multitude coming together again, so that they could not so much as eat bread. And when his friends heard of it, they went out to lay hold of him, for they said, he is beside himself. They wanted to put hands on Yahshua the HaMashiach because they felt like he was doing some stuff that he shouldn't have never done. So when Yahshua answered that question, the people who do the will of my Father is my brother and my sister and my mother. Because he dealt with those issues too. He dealt with those issues, and I'm gonna give you a couple of examples of internal issues, but I'm also gonna give you some resolution, some things that we need to do to fix those problems within our own family. Okay? Because we experienced that this week within my family. Why are you looking at me like that? Because we experienced that this week, and within my own family, right? The difficult part about my family right now is trying to get a family reunion together. And the reason why it's difficult is because we have some internal intentions. Some people in my family are not willing to let certain things go because of the past. And we haven't resolved those issues of the past. But we got to really resolve those issues. We got to resolve the problems. We got to get it right. Is your family really truly your family? That's the question. That should be the title of the text. And I'm going to switch it up. Let me switch that up. The title of the text is your family your family? Because we got to look at your family show you love. Your family show you the things that you need to get. It's there for you in a time of need. They're not just a physical family, they're a spiritual family too. But I'm going to give you 3 examples of chaos within families. And I'm hoping that some of you all can still come up, recognize that everybody has family problems because of internal intentions. Okay, so let us go to the first one. I'm talking about Cain and Abel. Let us go to Genesis chapter 4, verses 2 through 8. Okay? I just read 1. I start off with 1, right? And it says, and Abel knew Eve his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I have begotten a man from Yahuwah. And she again bare his brother Abel. And Abel was a keeper of sheep. It's funny how she didn't say anything about Cain, but she said what Abel was. And Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller. Okay, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. Listen to that. Listen to the characteristics of Abel, and listen to what the characteristics of what Cain did. Abel was a tiller, a keeper of sheep, and Cain was a tiller of the ground. And in the process of time, it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruits of the ground an offering unto Yahuwah. And Abel, he also brought a firstling of his flocks and of the fat thereof. And Yahuwah had respect unto Abel and to his offerings. Listen to that. It says, but unto Cain and to his offerings he had not respect. And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. Listen to what Yahuwah said to Cain. And Yahuwah said unto Cain, why art thou wroth, and why is thy countenance fallen? Listen, this is the most important conversation that the Most High ever had with Cain. If thou doest well, shall thou not be accepted? And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door. Unto thee shall his desires. Unto thee shall be his desires, and thou shalt rule over him. The Most High said, okay, Cain, if you do good, I'm going to bless you, but if you do bad, I'm going to curse you. Sin going to lie at your door. He gave him an opportunity to make Cain. The Most High gave Cain an opportunity to get his act together. Okay? But Cain, okay, so now let's look what happened in verse 8. And Cain talked with Abel, his brother. And it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel, his brother, and killed or slew him. Why did Cain slow Abel? Or slew or killed Abel?
Jealous.
Cain was jealous of Abel. It ain't the fact that Cain didn't have the abilities to get the same blessings that Abel had. Cain just decided not to do it. Cain was a rebellious person. Cain was a self-righteous person. So when you look at internal, when you have family members, and when you have family chaos, some of your family chaos could be because of internal intentions of jealousy. Your family members can have some jealousy of some other family members, not because they don't have the abilities to get the same thing. It's just that they wanted to go the way they wanted to go. Cain wanted to give the Most High some bull crap. And the Most High said no, but Abel's intentions for the Most High was pure and honest. So when we're looking at the Cain and Abel situation, we can identify that with our own families. Some of our family members are jealous of us just because they don't want to do what it takes to get what they need. They want to mope around and do whatever they want to do, but they still want to be blessed the same way you're blessed. And it don't work that way. And some people can really truly be jealous of you because they're scared to step out the box or jump out the box and do something different. But here you are jumping out the box and doing something different. But they're jealous of you because of what they have in them and what you have in you. But we don't recognize that. And they don't recognize, they don't do the internal investigations that they need to understand, why am I really truly jealous of my own relative? What did my relatives do to me to make me so jealous of them? What's in me to make me want to hate my relatives because they are where they are and I am where I am? Because Cain's offering was not the same as Abel. And because Abel was not the same as Abel, and Most High gave Cain a chance to change his offering, Cain decided not to. So Cain decided, say, well, I'm just going to kill my brother because he's better than me. Not because I can't do what he's doing. It's just because he's doing something, he has a more pure heart than I do. Sometimes people's hearts are so jacked up that they don't want to do what's right. So because they don't want to do what's right, they're going to be jealous of somebody else who want to do right. And let me show you. Let's go to First John. Let's go to 1 John. 1 John chapter 3. Verses 12 through 15. And see, this is something that, even though they're your blood folks, they ain't really your spiritual folks. They may be in your bloodline, but that don't mean that they really your people. Not from a spiritual sense that's going to help you and motivate you to get you where you need to go, and you can help them and motivate them to get with them where they need to be. It's going to stop because of jealousy is in the picture. They got so much jacked upness in the picture in them that they can't even see what they're doing. They're exposing themselves, but they really don't see it. In 1 John 3 and 12 it says, not as Cain, who was of that wicked one. Listen to that. Who was of that wicked one and slew his brother. And wherefore slew he him, because his own works were evil and his brother's righteous. Cain killed his brother because Cain hated his brother because of what they did. That's why Cain killed Abel. That's why some of your family members in your family may be jealous of you, because you're trying to do the right thing and they're constantly trying to do the wrong thing. That's what it probably is that's going on in the families, these families today. Because jealousy, because one is trying to do the right thing and the others are doing whatever they want to do. That's probably what's going on in the family. In verse 13 it says, marvel not, my brethren, if the world hate you. We know that we have passed from death unto life. because we love the brethren. Listen to this. He that loveth not his brother abideth not in death. Whosoever hateth his brother is a murderer, and yet knoweth not that murderers has eternal life abiding in him. Let me read that over. Whosoever hateth his brothers is a murderer, and ye know that no murderer has eternal life abiding in him. People that have that evil wickedness in their hearts, they can't go to the next realm. They can't go to the next, they say, heavens or the shimmyams. They can't elevate themselves to another thought process because they got so much junk going on inside of them, and they can't even see what the Most High trying to do. The reason why Yahshua said that, saying the people who do the will of my Father is my brother, my sister, because he had that same issues in Nazareth. They was hating on him in Nazareth. He couldn't even heal the people because they didn't believe in him so much. Because of jealousy. Do you know that I have had people that dislike me just because I'm teaching the word? Not saying that they don't have the opportunity to teach it. They get mad at me because I'm teaching and they're not. Not saying that they can't teach it. But they choose to hate me because I am teaching. And they supposed to have been a brother. Not my blood brother, but a brother on the street who I call brother. So we got to look at these issues that we have. One of the main reasons why family have problems is because of jealousy. People want to do what they want to do in the family and not do what's right in the family. You just want to do what you want to do it, how you want to do it, the way you want to do it, and think it's okay. But your way may not always be the right way. Not saying that your way is always the wrong way. But that creates envy and jealousy. The second point is power. People want control. People want control of the family. That's why most families are jacked up today, because some siblings want to control the whole narrative of the family. They wanted to go the way they wanted to go, how they wanted to go, the way they wanted to go. That's just point blank simple as that. You're going to have some people in your family going to be jealous, but they also want to control the whole thing because they feel like they right. Let's go to Genesis chapter 25. Genesis chapter 25 verses 23 through 26. Okay, let me go to 21 first. So, not just 21, 25, 26. And it reads, and Isaac entreated Yahuwah for his wife. Isaac prayed to Yahuwah for his wife because she was barren. And Yahuwah was entreated of him. And Rebekah, his wife, conceived. And the children struggled within her womb, and she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of Yahuwah. So at this point in time, the two children were fighting in the womb. Jacob was fighting, and they were fighting before they even came out of the womb. They were fighting in the mama's stomach. Can you believe that? They were fighting for control and power within the womb of the mother. Okay, and it says, when her day to be delivered was fulfilled, behold, They were twins in her womb. The one first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. Listen to this part right here. His hand took hold on Esau's heel. That is a representation that Jacob would be the leader over his brother. Or he's going to take rulership from his brother. The fighting in the womb is about power and control. And one of the main reasons why family have family issues is because of power and control. Who's going to be in charge? Who's going to be in charge? That's one of the main reasons why some families have issues. Who's going to be in charge? Who's going to be in charge? Who's going to be in charge? Everybody want to be in charge. That's the reason why they fight. And that's why you have so many family issues, is because people want to be in charge of something. And just instead of staying in your lane and doing what you do, when you get out of place, that means that you're trying to do something that you shouldn't do. Let's go down to verse 33. This is when, let's go to verse 32, 33, and 34. And Esau said, Behold, I am the point to die. On what profit shall this birthright do to me? And Jacob said, Swear to me this day. And he swore unto him, and he sold his birthright unto his brother, and unto Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and porridge of lentils. And he did eat and drink, and rose up and went his way. And thus Esau despised his birthright. Jacob understood the significance for the birthright, but Esau didn't even care about the birthright. Esau didn't care about being in a position of being a leader. Esau just wanted to do what he wanted to do, how he wanted to do it, the way he wanted to do it. But Jacob understood that. Jacob understood it. That's why Jacob asked Esau, give me your birthright. When Jacob said, give me your birthright, Jacob was basically saying, give me power and control. So when father died, you're no longer in control, I am. So Jacob sold Esau the porridge for the authority and control over the family. They were fighting in the womb. And they fight now. Families are destroyed because of jealousy. Families are destroyed because of power and control. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 35. Because we got to understand something. It can really cause a lot of conflict. It can really cause a lot of conflict when you don't want to follow the statutes or the rules and regulations or the lineage process of the Bible, or your family lineage, that the oldest, then the next to the oldest, then the next to the oldest, and then the youngest. That is the way it's supposed to be. The oldest get the inheritance, and then the next to the oldest get it, then the next to the oldest get it, and the last get the crumbs. That's the way it is. The oldest daughter get married first, and then the next to the oldest get married next, and then the next to the oldest get married next, and then the youngest person. That's why all this stuff happened. That's why Jacob had two wives, because Jacob wanted the youngest one, but he could not go out of order. Jacob had to marry the oldest, then he married the youngest. That was just the customs and traditions. But When we look at Ezekiel 35, 5 and 6, he said, because thou hast had a perpetual. He's talking to Esau, which is Mount Seir. Because when Esau lost his birthright to Esau never stopped hating his brother Jacob. It says, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shedded the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamities, in the time that their iniquity has an end. Therefore, as I live, saith Yahuwah, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Sitteth, thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Because Esau hated Jacob so much because of power and control, he was willing to kill his own brother to have that power and control. How many times have family members or families was destroyed because one person wanted to be in control and the other person didn't let them be in control because they wanted to be in control and the other person didn't want them to be in control. Then the family split and destroyed because people are out of order, people are out of line. You're not just having jealousy and power and control issues in the family. You're having both. And that's why Yeshua HaMashiach was saying this, because even though we might not knew all the issues that he had, believe me and you, he had some issues in his days. He had some family problems where, hey, I'm sure James didn't always agree with him. I'm sure they always didn't like him because he was gifted and they wasn't. I'm sure that they wanted to fight him and talk about him because he was gifted and they wasn't. And he was being able to be on the spotlight. Everybody want to have that spotlight sometime. I'm sure James was upset about that. We're gonna have these family issues where people are jealous of each other, where one family person want to be in control, one family member want to take charge of everything because they feel like the way they doing it is right and the others are not wrong. Okay, let's go to another point. Third is the abilities. These are very, very familiar stories that are parables that I'm telling you about, but we got to understand that these are real life issues that are affecting families today. Okay? Let us go to Genesis chapter 37. Verses 3 through 7. It reads, Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a coat of many colors. And when his brethren saw that their father loved him more than all his brethren, they hated him and could not speak peaceably unto him. Okay? And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it his brethren, and they hated him yet the more. And he said unto them, Hear, I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed. For behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and lo, my sheaf arose and also stood upright, and behold, your sheaf stood round about and made obedience to my sheaf. And his brethren said to him, Shalt thou indeed reign over us, or shall thou indeed have dominion over us? And they hated him yet the more for his dreams and for his words. See, sometimes people gonna be, your family members gonna be jealous because of your abilities. They're gonna be jealous because of your abilities. Everybody's not gifted with the same abilities in every family. And that's something that we really got to accept. Everybody's not gifted with the same abilities in every family. And whatever your ability is in that you have, try to let it magnify or help your family be better. It does not do you any good to try to be a financial person in your family or an accountant in your family, try to help your family do some stuff with money when you're bad with money. If you know that you're just a good organizer or you just a good greeter or a good prayer, why not just do that for your family and stay in your lane? Why you try to do something that you wasn't designed to do? And see, a lot of the times, that's what people do in the family. They get offended because somebody else's ability may appear to outshine somebody else's abilities, but it actually doesn't. It means that you're not walking in your abilities to help the family, but the other person is. So, but if you walked in your abilities to help your family, your abilities would shine just the same as the other person. But they hated Joseph because the simple fact is he was going to be the leader of the family. He was already preordained to be the leader of the family. But they hated him because of his abilities. They hated Joseph because what he was designed to do. He was designed to save the family. But a lot of us don't look at our rearing as a roadmap to where we're supposed to go and what we're supposed to be doing. See, my whole life I've been taking care of my whole family. I babysitted my whole entire family. Maybe except for one family. But everybody else in my family, maybe two. But everybody else in my family, I help my whole family. I have done something for my whole entire family. I am designed to be a nurturer. I am designed to be a caretaker for my family, and I understand that. And I don't have no problems with it because that's my design. That's my purpose. I don't try to overstep my boundaries in doing what I'm doing. I don't. But I know my purpose within my family and my entire family. But we have to find our abilities within our own families and make it work so that our families can be successful. We can't be jealous of one of our family members because of whatever that is. Don't nobody, if your family actually sit down at the round table and make decisions on whatever it may be, and everybody's functioning in their capacity, everything will work the way it's supposed to work. That means that everybody will come to the table and have an opinion about it and move forward in the way it's supposed to go. But when somebody comes to the table and just try to take over everything and let it be the way everybody wants, the way they want it to be, how they want it to be, it will never work because you're trying to control and have power over everything. You have to work within your abilities, within your family so that it can work. let us go to 1 Samuel chapter 17. Verses 28. David's brothers had problems with him. Brothers had problems with him, and it says, and Eliab, his brother, his eldest brothers heard when he spake unto the men. And Eliab anger was kindled against David, and he said, why camest thou down hither? And with whom hast thou left those few sheep in the wilderness? Listen to what Eliab said to David. He said, I know thy pride and thy naughtiness of thy heart, for thou art come down that thou mightest see the battle. And David said, what have I now done? Is there not a cause? And he turned from him towards another and spake after the same manner, and the people answered him again from after the former manner. They asked him, David, why are you down here? Why are you down here? Why are you down here? And when the words were heard which David spoke, they rehearsed them before Saul, and he sent for him. And David said to Saul, let no man's heart fail because of him. Thy servant will go and fight with this Philistine. David's abilities was to be a fighter. David was a warrior from the very beginning because that was his abilities. He was supposed to be what he was doing, but he was supposed to be in that place on the battlefield from the very beginning. Why? Because it says in verse let me see something. I don't know. I can't find the verse, and I'm going to hang on to it a little longer. But what happened is David said, I have killed a bear. I have killed a lion. I was tending the sheep. So David knew how to fight. David had past experiences as dealing with animals that was much bigger than him and learning how to kill those bigger animals. So when David came to fight Goliath, fighting Goliath was no different than fighting a lion and a bear, because David had the techniques on how to win, how to be a fighter on the field. But his brothers, they were so scared to go out there to fight because they didn't have the abilities to fight. So what David's brothers did was badmouth him before he went on the battlefield. But that was David's job. That was his skill set, to be a warrior. But they was hating on David. They was hating on David because the fact is his abilities was different than theirs. And sometimes you just got to be comfortable with being whatever you are in your family. Everybody look down on people who pick up trash. Garbage men is what we call them. I call them sanitation workers. Everybody look down on them because they look at that as a nasty job. But don't let your trash get picked up for 2 weeks. And that man come around on the 3rd week, you'll be so happy to see him, you'll want to tip him $100 because he's doing something that you don't want to do. So if you just stayed in your lane, your family would be much better. then you overstepping your boundaries when it comes down to dealing with your family. You can have people in your family that has jealousy. You can have some people in your family that want to be in control and have the power over your family. You can have some people in your families that are not operating in their abilities and mad and jealous because you're operating in your abilities. But also, this could basically what happened. Let's see what happened to David family. Let's go to 2 Samuel chapter 12, verse 9 through 12. This is after Nathan had talked to David about what he did to Uriah and Bathsheba. David had Uriah killed so that he can get Bathsheba, right? Let's see what happened to David and why he had such a conflict with his family. It says, "Wherefore hast thou despised the commandments of Yahuwah, to do evil in his sight? Thou hast killed Uriah the Hittite with the sword, and hast taken his wife to be thy wife, and hast slain him with the sword of the children of Ammon." Listen to this. "Now therefore the sword shall never depart from thy house, because thou hast despised me, and hast taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be thy wife." Listen. "Thus saith Yahuwah, Behold, I will raise up evil against thee out of thy own loins, and I will take thy wife before thy eyes, and give them unto thy neighbors. And he shall lie with thy wife in the sight of this son. For thou did it secretly, but I will do this thing before all Israel, and before the sun." And David said unto Nathan, "I have sinned against Yahuwah." And Nathan said unto David, "Yahuwah also has put away thy sins. Thou shalt not die." But David cursed his own family because of what he did to Uriah. And see, we got to do some soul searching too. Did we curse our families because of what we did to other people? Did we curse our sons and our daughters? And did we curse our own families because of what we have done to other people? We can curse our family by being jealous. We can curse our family by trying to be in power and control. We can curse our family by not operating in our abilities. But we can curse our own family just because of who we are and what we're doing. We can do that. And that's what's going on today in our society. If you look at our society today, when grandmama died, family reunions stopped. When grandmama died, no more parties. When grandmama died, no more unity. When grandmama died, ain't nothing happening. The family unity fell apart because grandmama died. When grandmama died, everything was destroyed because of jealousy, power and control, abilities, and all because of what we did to everybody else. That's what happened. Now everybody trying to fight now to get our families back together because we understand that it's been destroyed. And it was destroyed because of jealousy, power, control, abilities, and what the sins of the families did. But I want to say this to you. Let us go to Matthew chapter 5. Go to verse 23 and 24. Matthew chapter 5, verse 23 and 24. I'm about almost finished. And see, I want us to understand what's actually going on in the world today and why it's so important to me in the relationships. It's very important to me in the relationships. It's very important to mend it. Okay, in Matthew chapter 5, verse 23 and 24, it says, "Therefore, if thou bring thy gift to the altar, in their remembrance that thy brother has aught against thee," the word ought means a problem, that thy brother has a problem against you, "leave thy gift before the altar and go thy way. First be reconciled to thy brother, then come and offer thy gift." What the Most High is saying is, your relationship with your family is more important than bringing me a gift that I don't really need. Your relationship with your family is more important than any gift that you can offer the Most High. So he said, go reconcile, go fix that relationship. And see, my wife did experience that this week. You gotta fix it. How are you gonna fix it? How are you gonna fix the relationship? Let's go to 18. Let's go to Matthew chapter 18, verse 15. Matthew chapter 18, verse 15. We got to fix this mess. We got to fix this family. We got to fix this, because we don't know what's going to happen by April, May. We don't know what's going to happen. We got to fix this crap. Okay, he's telling us to reconcile. Don't bring no gifts to the altar before you fix this relationship, because the relationship with your brothers and sisters is more important than any gift that you can give me, because actually I gave you the gift to give to me. Matthew chapter 8, 18 and 15, it says, "Moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his faults before thee, and him alone. If he shall hear thee, thou hast gained thy brother." What this passage is saying, man, y'all need to go sit down and talk. Anybody in your family that has offended you, you need to go let that person know, "Hey man, you done did some stuff that I don't like, and I don't appreciate it. You hurt my feelings, what you did, how you did, the way you did, and I really didn't appreciate it." And because the person might not even know that you hurted their feelings or you did something to them. And because the person might not have known, they might not have known that they need to apologize to you. And see, you holding grudges against somebody where they not even know that you did something to them. But if you know you did, if that person know you did it to them, and you go to them and apologize, and and you go and confront them and they apologize, that means that y'all fixed the problem. But you first got to go talk to the person who offended you. You can't leave it hanging, because it's been relationships out here that lasted over, somebody have done some people wrong, and they have held that in for over 15 years. And not just going to the person and say, "Man, I feel like you did this," and "Man, I feel like you did that. Man, we need to fix this." And the person can also say, "Okay, man, no problem, my bad, I'm sorry. I'll fix it." It's just that simple. But if you can't go talk to your family members about what you think they did wrong to you, you can't reconcile it. You first got to start the initiation process of reconciling, going to talk to your family members. You first got to start the process of talking to them. Let's go to Colossians. And me and my wife had a real big argument. We talked this week about this same issue. Colossians 3 and 13. Okay? It says, let me go to verse 12. "Because you cannot move forward with anything in your family lineage You can't reconcile your family if you first can't go talk to them about what the problem is, or what happened, or what the faults were. Okay? Then it says, forbearing one another and forgiving one another. If any man have a quarrel against another, even as Christ forgave you, so also do ye. And above all these things, put on love, which is the bond of perfectness. Okay, so once the man comes to you and say, hey man, this is what you did. Hey woman, this is what you did. And I've been holding this in for 15 years and I'm mad with you and I don't talk about you to everybody. I'm mad with you. The person got to say, I'm sorry. Forgive me for what I did. I didn't know it. I made a mistake. I wasn't thinking on that level. Forgive me for what I did to you. And the person got to say in return, I forgive you. That person got to also forgive you. But you first got to sit down and say, hey, we're going to fix this here. We're going to reconcile this crap here because we don't need to continue to go on with this because it's getting too late in the game. Once you make up in your mind that you're going to reconcile your family first, then you got to go and talk to them. Then once you go to talking to them, you got to have some forgiveness. Both sides got to be able to forgive whatever it was. Because the Most High said, don't bring no gifts to me if you got some problems with your family. Because He's going to say, how can you love Christ who you have never seen but hate your brother who you see every day? And see, that's the problem with people. People in family say, oh, I'm a Christian, oh, I love God, I love God, I love God. But you hurt your brothers who you talk about every day on the phone. Oh, I can't stand that joker. Man, that joker ain't this and all that joker ain't that. Man, I can't stand that joker. Man, if I see him, I'll punch him in the face. But I love God, though. But you hate your brother. I'm going to close out with two more and that's it. Romans 12 and 21. Hold on. Yeah, Romans 12 and 21. See, it says, be not overcome of evil, but overcome evil with good. That means that once you made your mind and want to reconcile your family, and you go talk to your family about the issues, and you forgive your family of the issues, you still got to be the bigger person in the whole scenario. You got to be the bigger person. You got to be the bigger person, regardless of. Because you see the bigger picture. You see the bigger picture in building a relationship back with your family. See, some people may not see the same picture that you see. But if you've been blessed and your family be anointed, you see the bigger picture of forgiving and all that stuff and going and talking to them because you understand it's a bigger picture than the whole thing. You rather have peace than fight or war. It's not making you less of a person than wanting to make sure that you're the bigger person. That means that you're not going to play into the games of the semantics of keeping division in the family. And that is the hardest thing to do. Overlooking stupidity. But you got to realize that no, they're not on the level that I'm on, so that's why they act the way they act. Once you've made your mind up to reconcile your family, you first got to go talk to them. Let them know what they did wrong to you. Then forgive them. Then you got to be the bigger person. You got to be the bigger person in it. Why? Let's go Psalms 133. See, we don't understand the importance of unity. Unity is the killer of any and everything that you can have. It is the blessing to success. It's being unified. Unity is the key to success. That means that everybody's playing their parts, being in their role, and doing what it takes to be successful. Listen to this. It says, "Behold, and how good and pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. It is like the precious ointment upon the head that ran down the beard, even Aaron's beard, that went down to the skirts of his garments. Even as the dew of Hermon, and as the dew that descend upon the mountain of Zion. For there the Lord commands a blessing, even life forevermore." Unity is the ultimate thing. Jealousy, envy, control, and power over abilities, that destroys the family. That's what the devil, that's what the Hashatan wants. He want to go through all these things to destroy the family. But once you make up in your mind that you want to reconcile your family, you'll go talk to your family, you'll forgive your family, you'll be the best person in your family because of why? It is the precious ointment upon the head that ran down the beard, even Aaron's beard, that went down to the skirts of his garment. Unity is important in this day and time. A lot of people may not know if we're going to make it past July or not because of all the stuff that's going on in the world. A lot of people are dropping like flies. Every day, all day. And right now, you really don't have no squabbles. It ain't right now. It ain't the time to have squabbles with your family over some pettiness. Life is too short. No one knows the day nor the hour. All these people who've been dropping dead, they thought that they making plans, but they gone. So, is your family your family? Or are you going to let some internal intentions destroy your family? The internal issues are jealousy, control, and abilities. And sometimes it could just be what the parents did. Are you going to allow those things to control your family? Or are you going to make a commitment to reconcile your family by talking to your family, forgiving your family, and being a bigger person in your family? Because you understand that unity is more important. Because we don't know the day nor the hour that it may come. I want you to understand that. So that's the end of the teachings for today. But let me pray so we can go. Abba, as we come to you today, we thank you, we bless you, we praise you. Abba, we give you all the honor and the glory. Abba, we thank you for everything you have done and what you continue to do. Abba, we just ask that you help us in this moment to reconcile our families by talking to them, by forgiving them, by being transparent with them, by understanding that unity is the most important thing at this point in time. Because families are going through crisis. The only time the families see each other these days are at funerals. Not because of you, not because somebody love each other and I just want to see you. No, families only come together these days because of funerals. But we ask that you break that. Even though Big Mama has died and passed away and went on to a resting place, we ask that you bring families back together. We ask them to let them unify in their abilities. We ask them to let them unify in their powers. And we ask that they unify through love, so that they can be a precious family, a light to many other families. We understand that you brought division upon the land, but help us to be able to restore our families. We read what it says in Micah 7 and 6. But we don't want that no more because it's been here. We understand it. We've been going through it for the last 50 to 60, 70 years. We want our families to be restored. And we know that you can help our families be restored, Abba. We need this right now. We need you to help us to be able to restore these families. Let us commit to each other. Let us love each other. Let us endure each other. Let us have meek and kindness towards each other. Let us not hold grudges against each other for over 15 to 20 years. Let us speak to each other. Let us spill our grievances out towards each other and just not take offense. We ask that you unify our families, but we also ask that you forgive us for the sins. David didn't know when he cursed Uriah, he killed Uriah, that he was going to curse his whole family. And sometimes we don't know the sins that we have committed that's going to curse our family. So we ask that you help us with that. We ask that you guide us with that. We ask that you lead us with that. But we ask that you continue to protect and cover us as we travel these highways and byways. Forgive us for our sins. And also just continue to pour your wisdom and knowledge upon our life. And all these things I pray, or we pray, in your higher name, so let it be. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Hey, I'm serious. Y'all let me know if you want to be a part of Passover. I want to make sure that you experience that moment. Hey, y'all have a good one, okay? Shalom, shalom, shalom. Happy Sabbath.
Of all the relationships we established in this faith, I would never let a doctrine cause us to separate. I gotta be honest, I'm so beyond this. Sick of all the dumbness, we gotta do better. Hey, correct me if I'm wrong, but everybody got their path to walk, searching out their own salvation. So who are we to talk down on them? Cause they got a different perspective. If they don't see it the way you see it, in your eyes they the devil. Here we go. We may not agree on everything, but that's okay. We gotta start letting our differences get in the way of all the relationships we established in this faith. I would never let a doctrine cause us to separate. I gotta be honest, so be honest. Sick of all the dumbness, we gotta do better. Hey. Correct me if I'm wrong, but everybody got their path to walk, searching out their own salvation. So who are we to talk down on them? Cause they got a different perspective. If they don't see it the way you see it, in your eyes they the devil. Man, a lot of my friends turned their back on me when I told them I don't believe we should be eating meat. They told me I was going out, but was I really though? Perhaps I was right all along, cause they would never know. I think it's sad how we fall out over disagreements. That's the reason why we'll never progress as a people. Where this foolishness ever end, I really don't know. But as your brother in this faith, I got your back even though we may not agree on everything, but that's okay. We gotta start letting our differences get in the way of all the relationships we established in this faith. I would never let a doctrine cause us to separate. I gotta be honest, so be honest. Sick of all the dumbness, we gotta do better.
I can't go back and forth with no reprobate. I can't go back and forth with nobody who ain't doing the work for the Father, putting they family on. Acting righteous online, knowing they living wrong. Christ said, love your neighbor just as you love yourself. But soon as you fall, they talk behind your back and leave you alone. I'm here for you, brother. I know you weak. Let me help you be strong. Just call my phone if you ever need a shoulder to lay on. Don't let your heart go to seed. Can't turn my back on my people. Blocking the hate, then I pray. Keep the division away from me. I was waiting, pay attention. I'ma be a light, so the world.
We may not agree on everything, but that's okay. We gotta start letting our differences get in the way of all the relationships we established in this faith. I would never let a doctrine cause us to separate. I gotta be honest, so be honest. Sick of all the dumbness, we gotta do better.
They call you out, in your face, behind your back they hate it. $100 seats for a feast, you cannot make it. Condemning people on blood, that's the worst of Satan. Make it to the kingdom, yep, them my days of patience. Same spirits fly together is the way we make it. Fear of man is a stumble, so we keep it basic. I'm in my closet with Yahuwah, prayers from the matrix. My brother in the same boat, so it calls I take him. He calls on the higher, but I do not love him different. He wanna save his family too, we on the same mission. See, I love the whole book, I'm not picky with it. Love your neighbor as yourself, yep, I know the difference.
We may not agree on everything, but that's okay. We gotta start letting our differences get in the way of all the relationships we established in this faith. I would never let a doctrine cause us to separate. I gotta be honest, so be honest.